Hello and welcome to Python 101. So Python is a very popular language at the moment, and that's because of the links with data science and with machine learning. So Python is not only one of the popular languages, it's probably the most popular language amongst teachers, amongst data scientists, and amongst computer scientists. And it's one of the most sought after skills in terms of jobs. More and more developers are moving their projects over to Python because of how powerful it is and how easy it is to use. A lot of programming languages out there are not very user friendly. There's a lot of syntax you need to learn, a lot of things that if you get wrong, things will go really wrong really quickly. And the actual codes or the actual hints that come up don't actually help you figure out what your problem is. But Python is a complete opposite of that. There's a lot of syntax to learn, there's not a lot of syntax to learn even, and the learning curve is basically zero. So this series of videos is going to help you get started in Python and increase your confidence when writing scripts and programs that can help you do some pretty amazing things with life. So what is Python? Python is a high-level, human-readable programming language that is processed by the Python interpreter to produce results. Python includes a comprehensive standard library for testing code, and basically these are modules that can easily be incorporated into your programs. So we're going to look at modules a little bit closer later in the series. The Python programming language was developed in the early 80s and 90s at the National Research Institute for Mathematics and Computer Science, which is based in the Netherlands. Python is derived from other languages such as C, C++, and the Unix shell. The basic philosophy of the Python language is to make sure that it's readable, which makes pretty much sense. Basically, Python can be summarised by principles such as beautiful better than ugly, explicit is better than implicit, simple is better than complex, complex is better than complicated, and readability counts. So Python's free, Python's portable, and Python is classed as high-level language. So let's get started. So we're going to be using something called Anaconda. Anaconda is basically a data science toolkit. There are other options. There's PyCharm, there's the IDE in itself, there is like Kaggle and Colab and things like that are internet based. But for now, we're going to use Anaconda, and why will become relevant pretty soon. So we're going to start off with the basics, and then we're going to ramp up pretty quickly and start looking at some machine learning and possibly some data science. So Anaconda here, I'll link it below, and I'm going to click download. It's the standard thing. Select which one you're going for. I'm on a Windows, I'm a 64-bit, so I'm going to go for that. It's going to download for me. It does take a minute to download. It does give you this little thank you menu, so I'm just going to pause for a second while it downloads. Okay, so we're pretty much almost downloaded, so I'll just give it the 5 seconds it needs. There we go. So once it's officially downloaded, I usually just like to view it in my folder, so I'm just going to do that. It's in there, so I'm going to double click on that, and obviously it's going to open up on my second screen, so we just need to move that over. Let's minimise that, bring that over here. So this is how we set it up. So I'm going to go next. You're supposed to read all that, but yeah, I'm going to agree. Just me, because it's only me that uses this computer. That's where it's going to save, and I already have it in there, so it might not do it. Yeah, it's not empty here. So we shall save it on a desktop if it will let us, and if not, yeah. So just click next, it will install, and then eventually when it's installed, it will actually come up with something that looks like this. Now, Anaconda Navigator. So Anaconda Navigator takes a little bit of time to set up. It goes through your scripts and does all your command line stuff, and then it will install it and open it, hopefully. Just give it a second. And it opens like this. So we have something called an environment. So with our environments, I've got two set up. This one is my base environment, and this one is for a project I was working on. So we're just going to go with the base root one and start with the base root. And then when you get to this point, you will have several things that are involved with the data science. Now you might not have all of these, but you will have things like Jupyter Notebook and Jupyter Lab. We're going to be working with Jupyter Notebook. So if I just go launch, and it just takes a second, and it opens up my root directory. So everything I do, I always save on desktop or on OneDrive. So for the sake of this, I'm just going to save it on desktop. I'm going to add a new folder. I'm going to call it Python 101. That probably didn't work, did it? Is it in that one? Yeah, it's probably that one. I'm going to go new Python 3, and it opens up a new Python document for me. Now this is very, very different to the IDE. We still get the Python logo, we've still got kernels and things, but it is very different. So if I just write like that, probably don't need that, and then click run, it'll print out to the screen. Okay, so that's pretty basic. So you've just written your first one. Now the way this works is very, very modular. So it means that we can actually click on, like if we run this, so for example we've just clicked that run, it'll run it into here. We can copy it into here, and we can type something else like that, don't forget that, and we can run that, and it saves it for us. So it literally works modular. Now this is very, very useful when it comes to creating projects that are quite large. So this is why we are going to be using this one. Let's just have a quick look around. So this is save, so we save and checkpoint. This is add, so we can add an extra one of these. We just do that and it adds another one. This is cut, so we can get rid of one. This is copy, so I could copy this or cut it even, and then paste it again using this one. This one is paste cells below. This one is move up and down, and this one is run. We use this one quite a lot, so we use this to run all as code. So after we've entered code, we use this. Sometimes things go wrong, and we need to restart our kernel. So with our kernel, we just click the kernel button. Oops, there we go. We can interrupt it, we can restart it, we can shut down, we can reconnect. We can change kernel, but for now I literally only ever use Python 3, so we'll be okay with that one. Cells, this is again where we can run cells and stuff, but it's easier just to hit the run. We can undo, we can restart the kernel using here. I tend to just go to here. This is where we find out what the kernel's doing. So at the minute it says the kernel is idle, but when it's actually training data or doing large computations, it will go grey. So if we do it very, very quickly, you might be able to see a flash where it goes grey. Nope, it didn't work. But what happens if things go wrong? So if I do this and click run, this is the errors that we get. So it's saying that something is missing. Okay, so normally we're able to understand it, but if not, all we do is copy this into Google and it will actually do it for us. Now we can see it works. So that is part one. That is setting up, looking at Anaconda, very, very brief introduction, and creating your very first program. That's it for this one. I'll see you in the next one.